All right, Etsy has made another big change. I know you're going to love this. Don't kill the messenger, but they have changed SEO and specifically their titles and their new guidance regarding titles and what you should do and what they recommend that you should do. So, what does that mean for you? What should you do now? Well, let me go through the changes and exactly what you should do to make it through this so it would benefit you the most. So, let's dive in and look at this. The new guidance article, which came out the 20th, and everyone is analyzing this and trying to figure out what to do. But let's go through it really quick. They're basically wanting you to more or less. The overall change is they're wanting you to have concise, shorter titles. So going against the old, I don't even want to say old because this is something that I still do and I still think works well, is having robust keyword rich titles. Well, their thought is through their testing and with customers that the titles, if they are like very heavily keyword dumped, like where you put in a ton of keywords and some aren't relevant or a lot aren't relevant, it makes it harder to understand the product and what you're selling, confusing buyers, and confused buyers don't buy. So they're trying, I think, to clean it up and make it a little bit more concise. And basically they're saying that their algorithm and their AI is so good that you don't need long keyword dumped titles to still be ranking and still show up in search, because the algorithm will go through your descriptions, it's going to go through your tags, it's going to look at your pictures, and it's going to decide the best, match you with the best buyer. So that's kind of the why behind the why. So basically that's all this is saying is they want you to have clear titles. Why should I update my listing titles now? Because the search system has evolved to make a more holistic view of your listing, including titles, tags, attributes, descriptions, first photo, and even reviews to help you connect your items with the right buyers. So that's basically what I just said. So, and then basically they're going into what makes a great listing title. Clearly state the item that is for sale, like what it is. Include the most important traits up front, like your item's color, material, and size. Streamline for clarity and scannability. They're saying less than 15 words. I mean, there's 140 characters in your title spot. 15 words could fill it up. So, that's not necessarily shorter. Only include holiday, special occasions, or recipient types if they have essential to what the item is, like birthday candle or Halloween costume. They're not saying to put in holidays inside the title if it's not that specific subject matter, which I don't know if I completely agree with that, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. Move subjective words like perfect or beautiful to the description. That's nothing new. You shouldn't have subjective words in there. Most people aren't searching that way anyhow. They're not searching for the world's most beautiful piece of wood or shelf or something like that. And so some people are, but for the most part, people aren't because it's subjective. Don't repeat keywords. Yeah, you don't need to repeat keywords in the title because the algorithm will match it up. I sometimes do repeat keywords if it's a specific phrase that's like a high ranking, high searched phrase, and I don't want to leave it to chance for the algorithm to match those words together. So sometimes I will repeat some keywords. I know it goes against the grain, but hey, I've done pretty well on Etsy. So I mean, just because Etsy is telling you how you should do things sometimes doesn't mean that it's going to work the best. And that's with any platform. They roll out these changes, and a lot of them don't even fully understand the real world use cases of their algorithm in use and how it really works. So this is why we have to test and kind of see what works for us. Don't worry about adding info about price, shipping, or sales. Yeah, we shouldn't do this anyways. This has always been the case. You don't want to put on sale in the title. You don't want to put anything about free shipping. You don't want to put anything about price or anything like that in your title. It's wasting space. That's other parts of your listing. If you have free shipping set up, that's already shown in your listing. That's already going to be pulled in via the algorithm. If it's on sale, it's already going to be pulled into the algorithm, right? So you don't need to add that in there. If you want to add something about price or whatever, you add it in the description. You can say that this is the best quality for the lowest price or something like that. You can add those phrases in your description and it's still going to pull in the algorithm. So here's kind of an overview of the new guidance. So nouns, they're telling you, yes, keep it in the title. Clearly states what the item is. So yeah, we want to put what the item is in the title specifically. The more specific, the better. At least is a good place to start. Objective descriptors, so like neon pink, extra large, reclaimed wood, they're saying yes. So include the top 3 most critical descriptors for the category: color, material, and size, as well as other key information that sets the item apart. So I would say yes and no. If you sell a shirt and you sell small, medium, large, XL, I mean, that's showing up in your attributes. So I don't think you need to necessarily put that in your description. I think that's wasting space. Now, if you only have one size, then sure. You only have one color, then sure, put that in your title. Otherwise, it's going to show up in your attributes. You're going to label that in your attributes, and the algorithm can analyze all your attributes. So it doesn't make sense to put that in your title, at least in my eyes. Aspirational search terms: gift for him, birthday present, personalized gift. So this is kind of a big change. They're saying to move this to the tags or attributes. Well, if it's personalized, I think that should definitely be, if the listing is only, it's an item that's only personalized, that should definitely be in your title, right? I don't think it makes sense to not put it in your title, because that's the whole benefit of the item. Gift for him. Okay, I could understand maybe you don't want to have that, especially if it's not like clear that it's a gift. It could be a gift for him, but it's not necessarily clear. A lot of times we do those gift terms because a lot of the buyers on Etsy are searching for gifts. So we want to make sure to have that somewhere in our listing, definitely in our tags, definitely in our description. They're saying maybe not so much in our title unless it really applies. So I could probably get on board with that. Birthday present, yeah, unless it is birthday, unless it's specific to a birthday, if it's like a, birthday cake, or something like that. So I could get on board with maybe not filling up your title with those keywords and just putting them in your tags and then putting them in your description as well. So I think it just depends on the use case if you're adding those in there. Subjective description, so beautiful, perfect, wonderful. Yeah, there's no, those are descriptors that you can put in your description. Don't put those in your title. I wouldn't even put them necessarily in your tags, right? A lot of people aren't searching for those, and they're so broad that beautiful is used millions and millions of times. So just be careful with those and kind of think through that. Save your tags for high quality search terms, right? I wouldn't waste a tag on beautiful or perfect. I think there's going to be a lot better keywords to put in your tags. Now, if you want to describe it that way in your description, that makes sense. How the item is sold, on sale, free shipping, we already talked about this, removed completely from the listing. It's going to show up in other areas, so it's not important. Unnecessary repeated words or free phrases, unisex adult poncho, unisex cotton poncho. So they're saying remove repeated words or phrases because the algorithm will piecemeal it together. Again, I still have done pretty well repeating some phrases. I think it just adds relevancy because you're going to have those same phrases in your description. You're going to have same keywords in your tags, some of the same ones that are in your title. So I think it adds relevancy to basically really showcase what your item is, who it's for, and some of those terms should be repeated. And I don't like to break up certain terms. If I do my keyword research and there is a 2-word keyword that is really, really good, and then I have another 2 or 3 word keyword combination that's really, really good, high traffic, sometimes I'll keep those together. I won't cut out the words that don't apply because I'll have it in different locations in my title and in my tags. The algorithm, sure, it's supposed to piecemeal that stuff together, but I don't want to leave that stuff to chance, especially if I have really strong keywords that I want to use. Now, granted, I agree, you don't want to keep repeating you don't want to keep repeating the word in there 6-7 times. I mean, that doesn't make sense, right? But 1 or 2 times, I think is perfectly fine. If you're trying to really emphasize a specific keyword combination. So here's some examples that they gave here. Dad. This is like dad t-shirt, father shirt, personalized Father's Day gift, personalized. So they're basically saying to shorten this into personalized 100% cotton dad shirt. So this is still, in my eyes, too broad. What makes it a dad shirt? What is on the shirt? What's the subject matter? So there still needs to be more combination, more keywords in here. And again, they said not to use personalized, and here it is, personalized. This is the exact reason why we can't always follow exactly what they say. Now they did the sizing, names S through XL. Again, people aren't searching, I don't think, through this. People aren't necessarily searching always by size. So I don't know if that's necessarily beneficial to put in there. So here's some other examples that they're giving. Again, we got to take these with a grain of salt. I think it's more important to get the highest quality, best keywords in your title. And if that title becomes a little bit longer, that's fine. I like to start with long tail keyword combinations that are very descriptive, but also keywords that people are searching for that also have a demand for them. So again, this one, it has on sale. They took it out. Obviously, don't put on sale. So here's some examples. But basically, the other thing that they're saying is they're rolling out a new tool to easily update your title. So it's going to give you the recommendations. So there's a video on here basically showing this tool in action. I don't have access to it yet. They're doing a beta rollout, so they're slowly rolling it out. So keep checking. It's going to be in your if you go into your Etsy search visibility here, this tab, it's going to be one of these in here, so you can kind of check and see. So they're going to help you with this. So basically, what this all comes down to, all this minutia, basically comes down to they're recommending this. Whether it's going to work better than what you're already doing remains to be seen. So don't go in there and change all of your listings to this right now. If you're new listings or you have some listings that you want to test, do that first. Wait and let the other people figure this out. Don't tank your shop trying to do these changes right away. Even if you went into your shop and even if these changes were good, it's not going to take effect right away. It's not going to be immediate. So don't go in and tank your shop and then things aren't really working great. Because at the end of the day, all this just leads to information that the algorithm is analyzing. And its only goal in life is to match the best buyer with the best seller. Who they think is going to, which seller are they going to buy from? That's who they're trying to match it. And they do that by analyzing the information in your shop, in your listings, in your past listings, in the reviews. But they also analyze what that buyer is looking for, what they looked at in the past, the other listings that they've bought. So there's other factors outside of the things that you have control over, the things that you're doing. But the keywords that you're using are the single best thing that you can do to help put traffic in front of your listings. So when it comes to your listings, when you're doing your listings, the title is just one part of it. The title does matter and the keywords matter. So you want to use high quality specific keywords in your title. Again, if that title is a little bit longer, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Do we want to take out filler keywords? Yes. People have had a problem with that for a long time. We want to take out filler keywords. We want to take out, keywords that are descriptors, like that are subjective, beautiful, pretty, things like that. But the title is one way. The picture, especially the first picture, that the algorithm can analyze what is in that picture, but also the alt text. So you want to make sure you're adding alt text in that picture. So explaining, it's for the blind, what they can see or what they can't see. It'll explain it to them, but the algorithm looks at that alt text, the keywords in there, and it uses that information. And then your description, you want to make sure to have a robust description explaining your item, who it's for, why they should buy it, some value statements, but also long tail keywords in there, basically describing who it's perfect for and how people are searching. That's what you want to put in there. So you want to make sure you have a paragraph about what it is, who it's for, why they should buy, specs section, ordering instructions, everything that someone may have questions about. But all this information, title, picture, alt text, description, and then you have your tags, right? So the tags matter too. And then you have, your attributes, if you, whatever attributes. So fill out the attributes, for the occasion, all the attributes. It varies between whatever you're selling. The attributes vary, but the algorithm picks up on all these different attributes. And that's why you don't have to put the attributes in your title. You don't have to put those attributes in your tags because they're already here. You don't have to re-repeat those. And by not re-repeating those, you're leaving open the door for more keywords. And all of these keywords and all of this data basically just feeds into, Mr. Robot here, which will do like a blocky. This is like a terrible robot guy. But this is the algorithm, right? This is kind of the barrier. This is all this. It's looking at all this information. So the better this information is, the more this represents your item, then it's going to basically then start looking for the best audience, right? The best audience to find, to basically show this to. And it's also looking at this person's past history. What have they looked at? What have they purchased before? What have they bought? And if it thinks that they have a good chance of buying from you, it's going to then show them your listing in the search results. And hopefully they will buy from you. So that's why there's other factors at play. You can only control what you can control, but the best thing that you can do is set up your listing in a SEO friendly way, but also set it up so that it helps sell your item, helps showcase your item. You've got to spend extra time on your listing is basically what it comes down to. A lot of people hate doing listings, right? It's like, oh, I just want the sale. I don't want to do the listing. But the listing is what's going to get you the sale. And if you're not spending extra time, you're just throwing it out there, then that is where you're not going to get traffic, and you're certainly not going to get sales. And the algorithm can see, if your listing is half-assed, right? It can see that you're not using the best keywords. It looks generic. You're not using enough pictures. You're not doing all the little things right. And this is stuff you're going to get better at over time, right? So, but basically all this being said, this is a little bit of an explanation of kind of like how search works. There are more factors. I made it, I don't want to say dumbed it down, but I tried to make it a little bit easier because we overcomplicating it a lot. We make it more complicated than it is. Basically, it's analyzing all the information in your listings, in your shop, trying to match it with the best buyer that's going to buy your stuff. So the best thing that you can do is give yourself the best chance of success by giving it as much information as possible via keywords, via all the stuff that you're putting in your shop, in your listings, right? So with that being said, not a lot has changed too much. They're trying to get you to tweak your titles a little bit to make it more user friendly. But I don't think this is going to be that crazy of a change long term. I don't think they're not saying that if you have a long title, it's going to hurt you. They're not saying that at all. And if you're using the right keywords, even if your title is longer, I can't imagine that this is going to affect you at all. I can't imagine it, because if they really wanted to make this change, they would take that 140 characters and they would change it to 70 characters, or they would change it to 80 characters, right? So you couldn't have a big title. But they're not doing that. They're just telling you to shorten your title. Basically, they're trying to get you to have a more concise, more specific title that's keying in on what you're selling, and not have like a generic, broad, super broad title where it's hard to understand what you're selling. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where they're getting at, and that's what I've been coaching for a long time. That's the best place to start, is more specific titles. So that's kind of my take on this. So don't freak out. Take it with a grain of salt. Look at what you're doing. If you want to test this a little bit, that's fine. Don't go in and change your shop. Don't tank your shop. Let someone else tank the shop, right? Don't you do it. I don't think this is going to change. And again, this is the time of year where they're changing stuff. They just made some other changes. So if you, this other video I did, if you want to check it out, I talk about some of the other changes, mostly how it looks. The shop looks like they moved some different things around, took away some stuff. But that's it. Hopefully that helps you guys out. Let me know what you think of this change in the comments, if this made sense. But we'll see. I'm sure there's going to be more to come on this very soon. Other than that, have an amazing rest of your day. I'll be back soon with you guys.